Hey horror fans, it's Scarah, and today we're here with the author and creator of Halloween Man Comics, Drew Edwards. How are you doing?
Howdy, y'all. I am doing great.
And we're also here with two of his artists, Paulo and Joey. Here's Paulo.
Hey guys.
Hey everybody.
Wanted to specifically talk to you about your comic that is focused on Austin.
Yes.
But we'll get to that. So I have some questions for you first.
All right.
Firstly, how long have you three been working together?
Well, I've known these gentlemen now for, probably going on 6 or, with you, with Joey, probably closer to 10, and with Paulo, like 6 or 7 years. This is our first time working together. It was actually after Nerd Cave last year. I came home and I was like unpacking my stuff, and I was talking to all the guys, and that Paulo here had been sketching a picture of Lucy, which is our female lead in the comic, and my wife very wisely said, why don't you just do a special issue that's all Austin artists? And that kind of seeded the idea of what is now become the Bat City Special.
So the Bat City Special will be the first one that this team has worked together on.
Yes.
Okay, well that's great. So Halloween Man Comics started 18 years ago?
Correct.
Did it start as a physical book, or was this a digital item, or was that even a thing 18 years ago?
Actually, yes, it was, although it was very, very new.
Halloween Man's origin story, am I correct in saying he was killed by a vampire? He was brought back to life through some kind of magic?
Halloween Man has the power of the horror movie sequel. He was brought back through black magic, but channeled through a horror movie marathon because he was killed on Halloween night.
Oh my God.
And he has to eat. He has to eat people to live. He's a monster with a heart of gold. So even though he's very violent, I always go back to Larry Talbot, the Wolfman, because he had this anguish about him, and I really tried to like kind of channel that into Halloween Man.
So is that your favorite Universal monster?
Oh, the Wolfman I love all the Universal monsters, but the Wolfman is definitely my favorite.
Who is your favorite Universal monster, if you have one?
Oh man, that's tough. I'd have to say probably Dracula.
All right.
Wolfman, but Frankenstein is close.
Tell us a little bit about the other lead character, Lucy Chaplin.
Halloween Man is kind of a Beauty and the Beast story, and Lucy Chaplin is a polymath genius, super scientist, mad scientist, of course, because those are the best kind, slash plus-size model, slash master of martial arts, slash champion powerlifter, slash superhero. In comic books, there's this trope, of course, that the girlfriend is always going to be a damsel in distress. You know, we always think of Lois Lane, being tossed out of a plane or something ridiculous. And I hate that. Like, I wanted to make a character that was just as vital as Halloween Man. And in fact, people love Lucy. Like, we just actually released over the summer a comic that was just her, and it was very well received.
What was that?
It was called Lucy Chaplin, Science Starlet, and it was released on July 4th. I really wanted to make a character that was like the opposite of the damsel in distress. I wanted it, and if she does end up in danger and she does end up over her head, it seems that more dangerous because she's not a wimp. She's not helpless.
Right.
So and the same thing, like one of the things that happens in the comic is sometimes she has to rescue Halloween Man, or vice versa. They're a couple that's very much on equal standing. She may not have like the supernatural powers of a Halloween Man,
but she's a power lifter.
She's a very strong lady, like a buxom Batman, if you will, with much better clothes. She can do anything Batman could do, but backwards in heels.
We were chatting earlier about her wardrobe. She looks very pin-up, very voluptuous, rockabilly pin-up.
Yes, my wife is in a rockabilly band called Danger Cakes, and Lucy, even though the character existed before her, it's kind of taken a lot of Jamie's attributes on, and in fact, a lot of the clothes that Lucy has is taken from my wife's wardrobe.
I was going back looking at some older issues that I found online of Halloween Man, and Lucy didn't seem to be as voluptuous as she is now. What was the evolution of her going from sort of a typical drawn female that you'd see in comics with a smaller waist?
Lucy, I always envisioned the character as a plus-size woman, but for whatever reason, when I could never really get anybody to draw her that way. We did this storyline called Eye of the Beholder, which really focused on Lucy, and through the process of this, Lucy becomes plus size, and we left her that way at the end of the comic. That was our statement on that, and people loved it. You know, it was weird because we were being talked about on like fashion blogs and things like places you would not think that would talk about a comic book. Lucy was already probably one of the most popular characters in the comics, but like she's actually probably more popular than Halloween Man now.
So it's really nice to have a spectrum of sizes of bodies represented in all media, but especially the comic book world, because it's so limited to just the one mold. Whether or not it's a villain or a hero, it's the same body almost across the board for the ladies. In the Bat City special comic for Halloween Man, yes. There's a good Lucy storyline, and you actually drew it. So tell me about drawing a plus-size comic book lady.
Oh, I actually have a funny story about that, is that I was drawing her, Lucy, and as I was finishing the pages, I was letting Drew look at the pages, and he's like, they look great, they look great, they look awesome. One thing though, can you make her breast bigger? It's like, oh, all right, just bigger. I was like, all right, so I had to make a little edit, and I'd give it to him, and he's like, bigger, can you? I was like, oh,
it's about proportions, right? I mean,
yeah. But yeah, no, it was a fun story. It was a great story, and I really liked working with that story because he specifically asked me, what type of story would you want to do? And I told him, like, I like sci-fi stuff, I like robots and stuff like that, and he's like, I got you. He even let me like design a new character for the mythos, which was super awesome for me, just because I know that like now it's in the universe, and I know that I designed it.
How long have you been drawing for comic books?
I've been illustrating since like 2005. Like, I guess I would say professionally. I would go to cons and do commissions and stuff like that. And I got into comics sort of right after that, and it kind of didn't go anywhere, and it was kind of affecting my personal life. I did the Bat City special, and it prompted me it actually kickstarted me back into the comics.
So other than sci-fi, what influences you?
Anime and manga, a lot of Japanimation stuff.
Joey, what about you? What are you doing on the Bat City issue?
I had the pleasure of working on a man-goat story. And man-goat is actually kind of my favorite character in Halloween Man, because he is this sort of almost like a parody of like a superhero. Like he's trying maybe a little too hard, and at the same time, like he's very capable, you know. He has the right to be a little proud of himself, you know, because he does have all the power of a man-sized goat. Drew asked me, like, hey, what do you feel like drawing? Like, what can the story kind of be about? And I was just like, hey man, monsters, you know? And yeah, I got to draw a chupacabra, which is a great time, Mexican over here, and you know, one of the big three spooky Mexican monsters. So yeah.
Is it La Lorena, or you would?
And Cucuy.
What else influenced you?
Another thing me and Drew have in common, aside from horror and comics, is rock and roll. You know, I do play in a band.
He's an incredible musician too. He's being probably too modest. He's in a band called a surf rock band called Bat City Surfers, and I also knew him from a punk rock band called Lost Bones. So like this guy is phenomenal. I find that the rock crowd, horror crowd, they all kind of intermingle and marry the monster crowd. So y'all seem to click rather well. So that's nice. Yes. It's nice to have that camaraderie. I was going to ask you, at the time that we're shooting this, the Indiegogo for the Bat City special is still live. Am I right? Yes. So I really wanted to showcase Austin talent and put them up on the national stage and say, this is what we can do. You know, if you go to the Indiegogo page, you're going to see, you know, first of all, if you're new to Halloween Man, we're offering a lot of the back catalog as perk, but we're also offering prints with some of these talented artists. We're offering, you know, they'll draw stuff for you. So like you're going to get a lot of different styles of story, but within the same universe. So like as a primer for Halloween Man, if you are new to the character, you're actually going to get a lot of different shades of what the Halloween Man universe is like. So not only are you getting to see all these awesome talents from Austin, you know, you're getting to see all these different types of stories, you know, with a group of characters you might latch onto. But you know, even if you're not from Texas, again, I'm not out to alienate anybody. Right. You know, you'll still, like, if you just love monsters and you love crazy horror or sci-fi or splatter comedy, there's going to be stuff in there that you'll like.
And some blood and guts.
Blood and guts.
When would you like to have the issue out by?
Well, our goal is to have copies out by Halloween, obviously. And if we reach our goal, we are going to throw an amazing Halloween party. So that is also something, if you are an Austinite, that's also something that you can do that will maybe, you know, motivate you to become a backer, because outside of our amazing perks, we're working towards that.
I think that's great what you're doing with, hosting a huge Halloween party at the end. We're always talking about Austin needing a bigger and better horror community, and it feels like you guys are adding to it. It's midnight. You get up because you hear a dog barking outside and won't shut up. You're like, oh my God, whose dog is this? And then the dog's real yippy, you can't sleep, your wife's pissed. You go outside. And then the light above you comes on, and you feel your weightless body being sucked up and pulled up. And then you find yourself in a UFO craft, right? With the aliens and whatnot. And they probe you. Anally. Do you tell anybody?
Yes, because I am all about making easy money, and I can go on the talk show circuit with that. And you know, hello aliens. I'm also going to guest star on the X-Files, I think.
That's smart. A man that's out to make the cash from his, you know. I hope they use the loop. What about you, Joey?
Well, I wouldn't tell my girlfriend because I don't want to give her any ideas. See,
so maybe not her, but maybe everyone else. No one.
You know, maybe like hold on to it for 5 years. You know, get it worked.
Are you hiding something now?
It's happening. Right now.
What about you, Paulo?
That's never happened to me.
The truth is out there.
Well, we want to thank you guys for chatting with HorrorWeb. We really appreciate it. Everybody go to their Indiegogo, fund the campaign. We want that badass Halloween party happening. I mean, we might be biased because we live in Austin, but anybody can donate, anybody can see these comics, and anybody can get these perks. Comment below what other storylines you might want to see Halloween Man, you know, kind of look at in the future, and we will be chatting with you soon. Thanks so much. Mwah, mwah, mwah.